Welcome to About Money. Today, of course, we'll talk about the Brexit and whether it's time to buy now. We'll also discuss what will happen if Labor wins the election, the unthinkable, and we'll also give you some hot tax tips with June 30 fast approaching. I'm Marty Switzer.
I'm Peter Switzer.
I'm Paul Rickard.
And we're mad about money. Pete, first topic, the Brexit, hard to miss. Britain leaving the EU. Your thoughts on where the current situation is and what it means for the markets and the global economy?
Well, wouldn't you expect the Poms to do something like this? Just when we didn't need any curveballs for the economic recovery, along come the selfish Poms and they vote for Brexit. And so, but what I'm really glad about is that Wall Street rebounded, even Europe rebounded overnight. I guess the question is it time to buy? We don't know. The uncertainty is there. But what I've loved is that we haven't seen big down days like we saw
on Friday.
So I don't think it's as serious as subprime or Lehman Brothers failing. But, look, I think there's going to be times to buy. As George Babura said last night, the great George Babura from Contango Asset Management, if you're going to buy in stages, because there could be another leg down.
Paul,
but that will probably be the last.
Is it a time to buy now?
Yeah, I'm a bit with Peter. I think maybe a little nibble territory, but I sort of feel that this is going to play out over some time. I always said, even last Friday, that this wasn't going to be as big a thing.
You did.
And
it may not even happen. There's a possibility.
It'll take months to unravel. So we really don't know. I mean, longer term, the UK is going to go through, do a little bit tough. I think there's going to be some great value in some UK stocks, some UK property, as the whole Brexit thing unwinds over the next couple of years, but it's probably a little early. And
I think all the players are underestimating the work required to actually leave too. All the agreements that need to be negotiated. It's going to be a mess.
I mean, I think the other way to look at it, if some country automatically joined the EU, would everyone say that's a fantastic thing for world growth?
Up goes the market.
No. So, sure, it's the fifth largest economy, but Britain's not stupid enough, nor is the EU stupid enough to sort of kill all trade ties.
Yeah.
So I think it's overrated, but certainly,
some stocks to watch at the moment and not necessarily buy. What does the panel think?
Macquarie, I think Macquarie's belted up pretty hard. It's a company that always rebounds when it's belted. So Macquarie would be my safest bet.
Paul?
Look, I like CYBG only because
that's Clydesdale
for normal people out there.
Clydesdale, it got belted very badly. I think it's a good long-term bet on the UK. Really depends on management there. Look, whether you pour into BT or Henderson, not sure about that. They've really copped it hard, so they'll go up in a bounce.
So it's really the financial players that people could be looking at if they're going to play this Brexit bet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you should. I don't think the effect is going to be as big as people think. But I also think it's going to take a lot longer to go through the system. So
some of the ETFs have been beaten up too, Pete. IEU, VEU. Exactly. Your thoughts on them?
They're probably buys now, but there could be a little bit another leg down. But I think there's going to be a rebound in Europe eventually when the whole thing settles down. The bottom line is, how much money does the EU make out of the UK? It's a two-way trade. Right. The biggest fear is if Italy and Spain start to agitate. Italy has, but it's a typical thing you expect of Italians, an opportunity to make money. They say, we could leave, now look after us. It's a North Korean play.
We'll move on. Paul, your bigger fear is if the Labor Party actually wins the election. So I'll start with you. Your thoughts on whether that can happen and what does it mean?
Yeah, the bookies have it about the same as they had Brexit. So you get $7 for a dollar bet on the Labor Party at the moment. I think the coalition's into about $1.10. That's pretty much the same as it was on Friday morning before the Brexit vote
black
came
caviar
in.
odds.
So black caviar odds. Unlikely according to the bookies, but they've been wrong and very wrong recently. Yeah. I think you've got to look at what's been said in this campaign. I mean, this is, first of all, this is the most anti-business rhetoric from any party I've heard from in years. And that's going to get picked up and noticed offshore. So if Labor gets in, they're going to look at exactly what they've said about the tax cuts. And some of the stuff they've said about business is so unfriendly. And then next, this would be the sixth Prime Minister in 6 years. Rudd, Gillard, Rudd, Abbott, Turnbull, Shorten.
It's a banana republic,
isn't it? It's a banana republic. So how's it going to look offshore if the unthinkable happens? So
particularly when Arnold is tanking as well.
If you think Brexit is bad, if Labor somehow gets in on Monday morning, dollar down 3 or 4%, our market down 3 or 4%, and staying down, right? I think offshore is going to take a really dim view on this. So not in the pricing at the moment, but I'm just warning. The risk is out there. So that's why I'm not sort of rushing in just yet to this week. I think
Pete, you're just a quick comment comment from you on the chance of Labor winning the election?
Look, I don't think Labor will win, and of course, to make up the Senate is going to be critically important.
But that's going to be a mess. We all know that.
It's going to be a mess. But the thing that worries me is that Labor is sort of making noises that they might not be as strong on super as they're saying. My view was, okay, let Malcolm win the election, I want him to, but I don't like some of his super changes. Labor might renege on some of those super changes.
Peter, they're always going to bend. I mean, this is a Treasury super package. I've said this all along. This package has come from Treasury. Labor was always going to accept it. And I think you were naive. If you don't like those super changes, don't vote Labor, would be my advice. But anyhow, look...
But do you think the coalition will get their super changes through?
I think at the end of the... in Labor and government will behave differently, Labor and opposition. Labor and opposition will probably oppose some just because it can.
But will the coalition put their super changes through if they get
I think
elected?
most of those changes will get in. There'll be probably a few compromises around the amounts.
The 500,000 dated back to July.
I don't think the backdating is wrong, but maybe the 500,000 will go up to 600.
Okay, let's move on. End of financial year. Let's just a quick one, Paul. Tax tips or hot tax tips.
2 days to go. The most important thing is you can still prepay expenses. So that's the most obvious thing out there. That's where office workers advertising, got your stationery you need, got any subscriptions to pay. You know, this is the time to do it. You've got a day and a half to do it.
What about some tax loss selling?
And, well, I think you're maybe a fraction late for that, but also just contributions to super. If you can get them in, look, don't forget about things like the government co-contribution and the spouse rebate.
Anything for you, Pete?
Well, the small business tax offset, we know the government has bumped it up, but that hasn't been passed yet. So the current one still exists. So if your turnover is less than 2 million, you can buy something for 20,000 or even more. You can claim the 20,000 amount of it anyway. So it could be something to do, particularly if you're thinking of have a big tax bill. Get that sort of piece of equipment that you might really want.
Don't do it today, not tomorrow, I reckon.
That's all we've got time for. I'm Marty Switzer.
I'm Peter Switzer.
I'm Paul Rickard.
And we're mad about money.